I'm sharing my screen, and it seems that you people are not able to record class, right? So because I haven't received a single recording from your end. Has anybody recorded?
Ma'am, I tried recording one class, but means I was trying to search for it. But you can tell means if you want some recording, I can send
Okay,
it because the red mark shows means I thought that the class is being recorded in that case. That when the red mark
actually,
comes like that.
actually, it is being recorded, but at times I don't understand. Only part of it gets recorded. At times there is no audio attached to it, so there is some or other problem which comes. And that too, if I
Ma'am,
switch between gadgets, then there is some problem at times. Yes.
yes, ma'am. When you change device, then the
Yeah,
recording gets
yeah,
stopped.
yeah. That is the problem. So I won't be doing it now for rest of our classes. Okay, so let's try to go ahead with what we were discussing the last class. So which was this structure. Okay, so as I told you in the last class, the problem that we see with arrays is that we can store all data types which are identical. Okay, whereas in structure we can combine various different data types, and we can make a bundle of all those data type variables, and then that bundle will be naming it by any name. You can give any name to it. For example, now this is a structure which is given name force is name, and it is a structure. Okay, so it is essentially, you can think of it as if it is a bundle, and in that bundle you have different data types which are coming together. One is this float type of data whose name I'm giving as magnitude. Okay, so you can think of it as if force is a box, and inside those boxes there are different boxes inside. Okay, one box is named as magnitude, then there is another box which is named as angle, and this is integer type of data. Okay, so this box is different than this kind of a box which is float. Okay, then there is another box which is having a name as name. Okay, and this is a character type data. Okay, so that way you can have your own structure defined. Okay, you can have any different uh, data types as members of this particular structure. Okay, I'm going to tell you very soon that you can have functions also as members of the structure. We are going to see there can be pointers who can be members of the structure. So whatever data types that you have seen so far, okay, all those data types you can use those data types as members of the structure. Okay, so even an array, okay, so an array can be member of the structure. As of now these are single variables. Okay, magnitude is a single variable, but you can have array of float. Okay, here you can have array of integer, here you can have array of characters or a string. Okay, so that way you can do. Okay, so the last class we defined this. So this is declaration of that data type. Okay, so we have declared that hey, I'm going to use my own derived data type which I'm going to call as force. Okay, so जैसे अब तक we were seeing कि integer is one data type, float is one data type. In a similar sense, hereafter I'll be treating force as a data type. Okay, force is a data type like integer. Okay, so अब integer data type है, लेकिन आपको variable जब create करना होता है तो you will have to create that variable which is of integer type of data, right? So what you do inside main is you write down the statement. Okay, जैसे अब यहाँ पे we typically write down that integer x. Okay, so when we say so, what we do is we define a variable called as x which is of data type integer. Okay, जब हम ऐसे ये declaration करते हैं तो what happens is that, so in the memory a space which is required for this x, that is reserved and it is linked with x. So it's like you give it a tag that this is the space which is reserved, and what I'm going to store over here is x. Okay, so in a similar fashion what we are doing over here at this line number 15 is it's exactly identical to what is line number 14. Okay. Now we are defining a variable called as f1, which is of data type force. Okay, so force is similar to int and f1 is similar to x. Okay, so वेरिएबल का नाम क्या है f1 है एंड डेटा टाइप क्या है फोर्स है. ओके, द वे x is name of the variable and data type is integer. Okay, in the similar sense here data type is force and name of variable is f1. It is very essential for you to understand this. Okay, so henceforward whenever I am going to say f1, that time it will be a variable of data type force. एंड फोर्स क्या है, फोर्स एक स्ट्रक्चर है जो यूजर डिफाइंड डेटा टाइप है. ठीक है, इज दिस फाइन? इज एवरीबॉडी क्लियर विद दिस वन?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Okay, so now next point is how do we access that members which are there in the structure, okay, which is force, and there is one वेरिएबल विच इज ऑफ दिस डेटा टाइप f1. अब इसके जो मेंबर्स है उसको हम एक्सेस कैसे करेंगे? सो लेट्स ट्राई टू सी दैट हाउ वी कैन एक्सेस दोज मेंबर्स. सो हाउ मेनी मेंबर्स आर देयर इन f1? There will be three members, right? So there are in all three members. One is magnitude, another one is angle, and the third one is name. Okay, so now if I have to access one member of it, which is magnitude, then I can do it by putting this dot after f1. So when I say f1 dot magnitude, then what I have to do is I have to go to f1, and in that f1 box, so first of all you have to open the box which is named as f1, and in that box f1 you have to look for another box which is named as magnitude. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So now what is the statement which is at line number 17? Here we are taking input from user and we are saying that C in that input in this f1 dot magnitude. Okay, so put that input. So whatever user is giving you, put it in that f1 dot magnitude. That is, go to f1, open that f1 box, and in that wherever you see magnitude, over there you have to place that value. Okay, whatever user is going to give you. Okay, so this we have done over here at line number 17, and then comes the line number 18 where we are printing it, which we have done yesterday. Okay, so let me run this once again for you. Okay, so it is asking me what is the magnitude of force. Let me say that it's 9.6. Okay, so now it is printing that value. Okay, is this part clear? Any query?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so if I have to access angle, okay, I'll be doing it in exact similar fashion. Okay, so now let's say I'll ask user to enter angle of the force. Okay, angle that force makes, force vector makes with x-axis. Okay, and I'll be putting it in, what should I write down over here? f1 dot angle. Okay, it's prompting me that angle is integer type of variable. So this is the use of these IDEs, okay, which are these interactive environments, development environments, which interact with you and which help you that hey, whatever that you are right now being in using, that is integer type of variable. Okay, so I have now inputted that angle, and now what I'll do is I'll write down one cout statement which will print that. So initially I am entering what is the magnitude, let's say 80.5. Okay, now the angle that this particular force is making, let me say that it is making 90 degrees. Okay, so it is giving me that 9. So it is able to access angle, right? So it is also able to access what is the magnitude in that force. And now there is this variable f1 created which is having all this information. You can also associate some name to it. Okay. Now I'll be showing you that we can actually include functions as members of these structures, provided you have understood this. Is there any query in this, or should I move ahead to member functions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, so before I go to member functions, there is one small thing that I want to talk over here. Some of you might have used it, or you might have seen somebody using it. Okay, the way right now I am assigning user defined value to this f1 is using cin. You can do it by some other means as well. I am not talking about that intentionally right now. Okay, in the today's class, I am going to talk about it after some time. Okay, so there are certain other functions as well which you can use. Okay, so I'll be talking about it after some time. Okay, so let me use one member function to it. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. Okay, I don't want this name. Okay, let me add one function here. Okay, so let that function be that function which is calculating x component of this force. Okay, so it is supposed to return float, right? So which is the component of that force along x direction, and I'll be naming that function as xcomp. Okay, and what are the inputs that this particular function has to take? This will be float, which is the magnitude. Float, I'll be calling it as magnitude, and it is integer, which is angle. Okay, and then inside this I am writing return. Okay, I want x component of that force. So what it should be? Magnitude times cosine of, just correct me, it's angle. We have to convert it to radians, and it's m pi, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
M underscore pi. Is that so?
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am include CMAP.
Yeah, I'll be doing that. So okay, so let me tell you what I have done over here. Okay, so I am inside structure definition. Okay, so all members which are there in the structure, they are anyway accessible. Okay, so inside this, so I don't have to intentionally once again write down that this is magnitude is part of structure or so. And one more thing is that I'm also passing that. Okay, so I'm passing one float variable, and I'm passing one variable which is integer type angle, and I'm taking those two things inside, and I'm processing those two things to find out what is the x component of that force, which is the magnitude times cosine of that angle, and that is something that is being the return data type, that is the return value, and data type of that value is float. Okay, so this is the definition how I would define it. Okay, this is one way of defining member functions. There are other ways as well, but as of now, in today's lecture, we are going to stick to this definition itself. Okay, so now the question is, how would I access it, right? So I would be accessing it in the same fashion, okay, as I would have done it uh, in for any other member of the structure. Okay, so first of all, let me define one float type of variable in which I'm going to take that output of the function. Okay, so I'm going to define a data which is called as, let's say, fx. Okay, and that fx should be equal to f1 dot it's xcomp, and we need to pass something to it. So what are we going to pass to it?
F1 dot magnitude and F1 dot angle.
Yes, so this is one way of doing it, let me tell you. Okay, this is one way of doing it. We can do it in another way as well. I'm going to show you that way as well. That will be f1 dot angle. And now I am saying cout will be fx. Okay, so shall I run this? Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So let me say something 90. This time I am going to say that it is along x-axis itself, and it has given me 90, right? So I have forgotten adding endl over here. Okay, so this is one way in which we can do it. Okay, now there is one small change in this which I'll show you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, here line number 8 magnitude and line 10 magnitude, these are not related, no? Means if we write magnitude 1 instead of magnitude in line 10, then also it will work same.
Yes, so I'm going to change it a bit, and now you will be able to appreciate what this is. Okay, now I'm going to say that it's not taking any input. So what is anticipation? Can you anticipate that what would happen? Is there any anticipation from anyone?
Ma'am, it will not return anything.
Nikita, can you please once again repeat that?
Ma'am, it will not return anything.
Okay, let's try to check it out. Once again, 90, 0. It has returned 90. Are you able to see what has happened?
Yes, ma'am.
So can anybody identify that what has happened? Why at all? Even when I did not pass anything to it, still it has done something with magnitude and angle. So can anybody appreciate what might have happened behind? Okay, fine. I'll tell you. Okay, yeah. So is there anyone who is willing to say something?
Ma'am, is it taking default values for angle if you have not given the value of angle, or if you have given the value of angle, then
I have given value of angle. It's not taking default value. You can give default values as well, but I'm not giving default values. But what is happening is that, see, this xcomp function is inside structure called as a force, and it is member of that structure, and structure members have got access to other structure members. So xcomp, which is a member of a structure, it has got access to other members. So it has got access to magnitude, it has got access to angle. Getting it? Is this point clear?
Can you repeat
Ma'am?
once again? Your voice was not coming earlier.
Okay, fine. I'll repeat this. No issues. Okay. See, what is happening over here is that here a structure variable which is named as f1, it has got three members inside it, right? One member is magnitude, another member is angle, and third member is function. Okay. Now this third member function, it has got access to other two members of that same variable f1. So this particular function, which is xcom, it has got access to a box which is called as a magnitude, which is lying inside that same box f1, because where xcomp is now residing at the same location in that same box, magnitude is also residing, and in the same box angle is also residing. So they can so this xcomp has got access to both magnitude as well as angle, and they can access each other. So that's why even when I am not passing it explicitly, magnitude and angle, even if it is void type of function, I mean the argument that you are passing is void, you are not passing any argument to it, still it is accessing these variables which are magnitude and angle, because both of all these three members, they are members of the same f1. Are you able to appreciate this?
Yes.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Now,
so if we change the name of the return magnitude and this angle, then it will not return anything.
yes, let me show you that. So let me define one more variable f2. Okay. So whatever inputs that we are giving, those are for f1, and I'm calling xcomp, which is function lying in box f2. Okay. So same stuff I'll do. So this time it is giving us something random, arbitrary garbage value, okay, which happens to be 0. Getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this point clear
Ma'am,
with
is it
everyone?
possible? Ma'am, is it possible that by default the variables are assigned 0? That's why we are getting output as 0.
Actually, modern days compilers in most of the cases assign zeros. So by default, initialization is to 0 in most of the compilers. But I mean, better you don't believe that. So I mean, you don't know how exactly your compiler is behaving. Okay, so you cannot say so for sure.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I hope this member function part is clear to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now there is one more small stuff that I want to talk about regarding the structure, is pointers to structure, right? So we have seen we can define pointers to data types that we already have seen, which are integer, float, and all. So in the similar sense, we can define a pointer to structure. Okay, and we can indeed operate onto that pointer to access members inside the structure. Okay, so I'll be showing you that now. So let me save this one, write a new code. Okay. So let me have this initial part copied. Wait for a minute. Okay, so let's try to work with pointers to structures. Okay, so here also I'll be initially declaring okay, fine. So before I go ahead and start working with that, let me ask you that how do we do, let's say if I want to declare if I want to work with pointer to integer, so what do we do? What is the first step that we do? Now I'm inside main, so how do we go about? So what we have been doing so far when we work with, let's say, pointer to integer. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So what is the first thing that we do? So let's say there is one integer variable and you want to access that integer variable using its pointer. So how do you do that? What are steps that you take?
Ma'am, data type, star, and
Okay, so we initially say that, okay, fine, that I am defining pointer to an integer and that I am calling as p. Okay, what is the next step that we do? We have defined one pointer to integer. Okay, fine.
P equals ampersand of whatever we want to assign.
So we say that p equal to ampersand of one integer variable, let's say x. So obviously you will have to define that as well, right? So you will have to say that there is variable x which is of integer type of data. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
And then you will be saying this. And hereafter you are free to use p to access x. So these three things are essential in order to access x using p. Okay, so what are these three things that we have done over here? Initially we have declared one pointer to integer, then we also have declared one variable which is integer type of a variable, and address of that integer type of variable we are passing to that p, right? So these are two declarations and this is linking between address of x and p. Is it clear? So we have
Yes,
to
ma'am.
go in the similar lines over here. Now I want to create one pointer, okay, which will be pointing to what kind of a data type? Force, right? So if I dereference that pointer, then the data type that I should get is force. So I will say force star, asterisk p. Okay, so p is now a pointer. Okay, so let me comment these three lines. Okay, so p is now a pointer. If you dereference that pointer, then the data type that you are going to get is force, which is a structure. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this line number 21 is equivalent to line number 18. Now I have to write down another line which is equivalent to line number 19. Okay, so now I'll say that force, I'll generate one variable f1. So f1 is a force type of a variable. And now I have to write down a line which is equivalent to what I have written at line number 20. I will have to access the address of f1 and that address needs to be passed to p, right? So I'm saying that p is equal to ampersand of f1. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So these three lines, line number 21 to 23, they are exactly identical to what we have been doing so far, and which I have written over here from line number 18 to line number 20. Okay, so we have created one pointer which is pointing to structure, and now how do we access members of that pointer? Okay, that particular structure. So there are various ways of doing it. I'll be showing you one way now. Okay, so let's say that, okay, fine, see out. So let me write down this stuff itself, whatever was there. Okay, so I'm asking user to enter the magnitude of force and I want to store it somewhere. Okay, so where I'll be asking you. I'll also be printing that stuff. Then I'll be asking the user to enter the angle and that I have to store somewhere. Okay, so what do you think? Where should I put it? Okay, we need to dereference it and then access a member of that, and there in that we will be putting it, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so there is one way of doing it which is a pretty typical way of doing it, and now this is that way. Okay, we use this operator, arrow operator, which is dash followed by this boolean operator. Okay, when you have these two symbols written one after the other, then that becomes arrow operator. Okay, so you can directly access member by using name of that structure pointer in this fashion. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And now I'll say magnitude. Now I'm able to access it. So I'm putting it in this. In a similar fashion, I'll put it in angle. Okay, so let's run this. I'll call it.
Ma'am, in line 24, it is out.
I'll check.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Pointer to structure. Okay, so let me run this. So, what was the problem?
Ma'am, line 24.
Line number
See out.
20. Ha.
The
C
spelling
is
of
missing. Enter the force. Oh, good. So it has accessed that and it has even printed it. Okay. So now let me say that's 0. So it has accessed the angle as well. Okay. And now we can even access member function in the similar fashion. this time I'll be saying and it will do that. So it's 90, 0, and it has got calculated component of that along x. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. You can do it by using asterisk operations, I suppose. Let me give it a try. I'm under the impression that it will do that. Let's give it a try whether it does, but it has to. Oh, it has given problem, so don't do that. The problem, I suppose, is over here. So let's give it a try. Yeah, it is doing it. Yeah, you can do it in either ways. So what I've done over here is, so are you able to see what I've done? So this is one way of doing, and this is another way of doing the same stuff. Is this thing clear?
Ma'am, are the brackets necessary in line 25 and 26?
I think so. We can give it a try, because it won't. So basically why I have done it, so it has to first dereference it, and then it has to go to member of that. So if I don't put brackets, then I don't know what is sequence of operations. It may do so. It may think of accessing p dot magnitude and find out address of that. I mean, it may try to dereference that. So p dot magnitude can be one pointer, and it can try to dereference that. So that's what I think may happen. So it may not work. So in order to this p dot magnitude work, p should be force type of a variable, and I am having intuition that this is going to flash that error. Let's flash it. Request for a member magnitude in P which is of pointer type force. So what is the error? The error is that so it is taking that way itself. So it is considering this action first. So it is saying that, hey, go to variable called P and find out member in that P which is magnitude. But P is not that type of data which has got a member called as a magnitude. P is pointer to a structure. Okay, so you have to dereference that first, and then you have to find out member of that. So in order to have that dereferencing done first, we have to put it like this. Is this clear, Shrey?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is it clear with everyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine, good. So let me run this. Okay, fine. Now the very last thing that we'll be discussing, and we'll be discussing rather in the tomorrow's class, because I have to attend something now, and that is called as a linked list. But I'll anyway be giving you a brief idea about what that linked list is. So let me tell you what that linked list is. So I'll be only telling you brief idea about that. So I hope there is one tutorial which has got linked list into it. So from that perspective I am telling you, otherwise I wouldn't have told you that. So okay, so Now what we'll be doing is we'll be using pointer to a similar kind of structure as member of the structure, and that is something what generates a linked list. So first of all, let me tell you what is the significance. Why do we at all go for that linked list? Now we have seen that when we define an array, so let's say we say that A8, okay, then what happens is that in memory 8 continuous blocks are arranged, okay, and those blocks are what is the size, that depends on what type of data that we are defining. So let's say if we say integer a8, then what it is going to do is it is going to reserve 8 number of blocks which corresponds to 4 number of bytes each, right? So each one of the block is of 4 bytes, because we are saying that it is integer type of a data that I'm going to store in each block, okay. So one thing is that we can indeed use float, that we already have seen that we can define float a8, okay. In the similar fashion, we just now have written our own data type, and we can say that force a8, that also we can do, okay. So if we say force a8, then what it will do is it will reserve consecutive 8 blocks where each block is able to store force type of a data. So obviously each block has got 3 blocks inside it, and first block will be uh, that will be reserved for float, another block will be reserved for integer, and third block is reserved for whatever member that you have accordingly, okay. And it calculates data size necessary as per the member that you are defining, okay. So Tanya, is there any problem? Okay, fine.
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine, no issues, no issues. Okay, so this is what is array of variables that we have seen, okay. But what happens is that when we say that a8, then we cannot add a new member. So let's say if you feel that, okay, fine, now I want to add a new member to it during the runtime. So you cannot add a new member to it during the runtime. What you have to do is you have to create entirely a new array if you want to add a new member. So you may realize that, oh fine, so a shouldn't be of 8 number, it shouldn't contain 8 number of entities into it, but let's say we have to change it to 10, or we have to increase it to 15 or so. So then what you have to do is you have to completely erase a and create new one, or you have to store a remaining element somewhere else and you have to name it by some other array, and then you have to always keep in mind while accessing that these 7 elements are stored somewhere else by some other name. So this is what is the problem with arrays, that they are of fixed length. So you define it in the beginning. So even if when you are allocating memory dynamically, so even when you are dynamically allocating, that time also you ask the user. So the only provision that you have is you ask the user that how many number of elements you want in that array. But once the user enters those many number of elements, then the memory which is stored or reserved is only for those elements. Then while a runtime, user cannot change it once again, right? So let's say user thinks of changing it sometime in between the execution of the program, then it is not possible. So you have to go to entirely a new definition of the array, and which is actually the motivation behind what is called as a linked list, and that is possible using structure type of a data. So in that what we do is, so it's like this. So we have a structure, okay, which has got 2 entities into it, okay. One entity is for storing the number, and the other entity is for storing the address of similar such block which will be reserved at some other memory location. Okay, so this entity is pointing to it. Now this one will also have two blocks inside it. One block is for storing the number and the other block is for storing the address of third such block. Now this third block will again have one place for storing the value and one place for storing the address of next block. And you can keep doing it. So are you able to get what is happening over here? So in this way what you are doing is you have many such entities. Okay, so it's like let's say you want to store numbers 2, 3, 5, 8. Then what you do, you store number 2 and then you store address of number 3. So from where you can go to number 3 and then you store address of number 5. With this address you can go to that number 5 and then you also along with that 5 you store address of number 8. Is this making any sense to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you might have played treasure hunt. So how many of you have kind of designed treasure hunt for somebody else? You might have played it, but have you set up the treasure hunt game?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So when you design the treasure hunt game or when you set up that treasure hunt game, then what you do is, so let's say you have clues which are going to guide you to the next destination. Okay, so you give first cheat. Let's say you are designing that treasure hunt for me. Okay, so what you would do? Can anybody explain me? So what you would do?
Ma'am, I would start from giving you the first chit and I would keep the destination place with another chit to the next destination place and that destination place to the with the clue of the next destination place and so on.
Right, good. Okay, so यहाँ पे treasure hunt किसने खेला ही नहीं है बिल्कुल?
Yes, ma'am.
अच्छा ठीक है. ओके, सो ट्रेजर एंड गेम अगर आपने बिल्कुल खेला ही नहीं किसी ने, तो ये क्या होता है, आपको ना एक सीरीज ऑफ चिट्स दिए जाते हैं जिसमें कुछ क्लूज होते हैं जिससे यू गो टू द नेक्स्ट प्लेस एंड व्हेन यू गो टू द नेक्स्ट प्लेस यू फाइंड आउट अ न्यू चिट ओवर देयर व्हिच विल लीड यू टू द नेक्स्ट प्लेस एंड सो ऑन एंड फाइनली यू गो टू फाइनल डेस्टिनेशन जहाँ पे आपके लिए कुछ ट्रेजर रखा हुआ है एंड इफ यू कैन फाइंड आउट दैट ट्रेजर देन दैट ट्रेजर बिलोंग्स टू यू. That's what the game is. Most of you might have played it. Okay, so it's pretty kind of entertaining game, and setting up the treasure hunt that itself is quite entertaining. अब treasure hunt जब आपको set करना है, then what do you do? Okay, so what I would do is, okay, जैसे let's say Shrey is playing. So what let's say Saurabh is going to do is, let's say Saurabh is setting up game for Shrey. So what Saurabh would do is, Saurabh would give one chit to Shreya, okay, जिसमें लिखा होगा a clue which is going to guide Shreya to a place. Okay, जैसे एक destination के लिए guide करने के लिए कुछ clue दिया होगा. Then with that clue, let's say Shreya is able to understand that clue. Then वो clue से he'll be able to trace what is that destination. He will go to that destination. At that destination, he will find next chit. Then next chit will be having another clue, and that clue is going to guide Shreya to second number of destination. Shreya will go to second number of destination. There he will find another chit, which is the clue to go to destination number 3. Linked list is exactly parallel to that treasure hunt game. Okay, so it has got two components in it. One component is for storing the value and other component is for storing the clue that is going to guide you to the next location. So next location shouldn't be exactly adjacent to the first location. You can place 2, 3, 5 these numbers anywhere in the memory. You can keep it anywhere. जहाँ भी जगह मिले, you can keep it. Only thing is that you need to have a link established between 2 and 3. From 2, you should be able to go to 3. From 3, you should be able to go to 5. Similarly, from 5, you should be able to go to 8. And how do you do that? So you actually store 2 blocks. In one block, you will be storing number 2, and in other block, you will be storing address of number 3. Address of number 3 is in a way clue to go to number 3. Now, if you dereference that address, you will be able to access 3. आप एक बार 3, if you can access 3, then it will have another adjacent block, and that block will have address of number 5. Is this point clear? Students, am I making any sense? Is this point clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So this is how we can store numbers in a pseudo array. So it's like an array itself, but it is not the typical array. It is called as a linked list. Okay, so it is a list, and there is link between every 2 adjacent numbers in the list. Okay, so 2 is leading you to 3. 2 has got no any information of 5 directly. Okay, so 2 has a link established with 3. 3 has a link established with 5. 5 has a link established with 8, and so on. So once you are able to land up to 2, you will obviously be able to go to 8. It works exactly parallel to the treasure hunt game. Okay, so जैसे treasure hunt play किया जाता है, it's exactly the same one. So those who have ever set up treasure hunt game, they shouldn't find it at all difficult. Okay, those who have not set up treasure hunt game, you can now set up the treasure hunt game, let's say for your friend or your sibling, and try playing it with your sibling, and you will be able to appreciate that how exactly linked list works. Okay, now I'll be showing you in the next class, which is going to be there on tomorrow most probably. So 99% I'll be able to have your class on tomorrow. However, I'll be letting you know by today night. Okay, so I'll be sending you an email which will also tell you about what is meeting details of tomorrow's class. Okay, fine. So I'm stopping here now. Thank you, and we'll be meeting in the next class.
Thank you, ma'am.
You, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, please. Yeah, welcome.
Ma'am, if you require, where should I send you? Means like I recorded today's lecture or
Okay,
a previous one.
Parth, what you can do is good way would be you can put it in your drive, and you can send me the drive link. Okay, if I fail to access the today's lecture, then I'll be letting you know about that.
Okay, ma'am. And ma'am, regarding the tutorials, ma'am, I have submitted till now the screenshots and the code is and the screenshots of the console windows and the screenshot of the code, ma'am.
That should be fine, Parth. That's what I was telling. So it should be okay. So as long as code is working. So in the worst case, if so, basically looking at the code itself, in most of the cases you get to know that what is happening. But if we doubt, then obviously we can write our own code by looking at your screenshot. Okay. So that
Ma'am?
shouldn't cause. Huh.
You have uploaded tutorial
You
at
have to
10
also
and 11
delete
same.
that tutorial, which I have
I
to
have
submit.
changed it. I've changed it. Now you have a look at it. I've changed it.
Ma'am, ma'am, we also have to rename the folder we are going to submit on Moodle link.
What is it that I'm not getting? This
Like,
thing I'm
ma'am, in Wednesday, I have submitted my assignment date, but I have not renamed the assignment. The name of the assignment was Adobe Scan, like that.
okay. You change it, okay, so that it will be better. So we'll be able to know that.
Ma'am, at that time I have not
You
changed.
can do it now. You can do it now.
Okay.
Okay. Your latest attempt will be
Again,
considered.
ma'am, I have to submit.
You have to do it again.
Again, I have to submit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Huh.
Ma'am, I just had one query, like regarding the exams and all the like the codes which we'll be writing. Can we use BETS library like in the final exams, like NSEMS? Or do we have to write down like all the IO stream and then again string vector or whatever we want?
What we'll do is we'll decide it at our end first of all. So it's not just me who is going to decide how the exam needs to be conducted and all. So we need to have a
Okay.
word with ourselves, and then we'll be letting you know everything which is required
Okay.
from the perspective of examination. So we will finalize
Because
it
I
at our
think,
end.
ma'am, like I'm quite habitual with writing bits library, so I might have added bits library in one of my tutorials or even the project. I don't remember, but
Okay, fine. So
that's what I was asking.
okay, I need to, I mean, we need to discuss it among ourselves first, and then only I'll be able to confirm it. Yeah, I cannot tell you right now. Okay,
Okay.
fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Hi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.